Hi, so today I wanted to do a quick video about some philosophical concepts that have been helpful to me in terms of trying to get a more organized, clear thinking about high-strange events. Their category error and the concept of Holons. Now, category error is a logical fallacy. Um, and I was inspired to make this of some of the discussion that's been happening in the Radio Mysterio Facebook group. So we'll get onto this. Hopefully it'll be helpful. I know that we have some like actual certified philosophers in the group, so they may roast me at their will. Anyway, okay, so first of all, what is category error? It's basically related to the whole idea of the fallacy of comparing apples to oranges. Right? You want to make sure if you're evaluating a particular phenomena, object, or process that you're if you're discussing it with someone, you're coming at it from the same kind of viewpoint, and as opposed to just talking across each other. Of course, that never happens in like the UFO community. It's constantly, mostly just people talking at cross purposes. So if you define how you're evaluating a particular phenomena, like if you're looking at the UFO question, okay, are we looking at possible trace evidence? Are we looking at witness reports? Are we looking at it from the phenomena of the sociology and how the idea of aliens has, for example, influenced ideas about technology and stuff? That you can have a more productive conversation. You will have a better feel for what evidence you should bring to bear, what type of arguments on the phenomena as you're studying it from that particular angle. So it just helps you to be more precise thinking about these things and discussing it with other people, so you're not getting someone who says, let's say, oh, we need to throw out all witness testimony because it's all tainted. It's like, witness testimony is very important from many angles of looking at the UFO, how it influences society and individual people's experiences. Also, it's very helpful to know where you should try and find UFOs. If you're going to study them with instruments, you need to find out where the heck they are. Witness reports, of course, can be a vital part of that phenomenon. For example, if you're studying, let's say, weather, right? You have a bunch of weather spotters, and they are providing witness testimony. But it's vital to trying to understand the phenomena, so then you can go in there with your instruments and technology to try and drill down into what's happening. But you need to know where, these spontaneous phenomena, where are they popping up, where are they happening. Also, the citizen scientists, for example, bird watching and stuff, providing witness reports and observations on nesting, migration, and so forth, numbers. But you need to say this is the category of witness testimony or eyewitness testimony and treat this evidence in that particular manner, as opposed to saying this is like a technical observation or something like that with a particular instrument. I had probably my most hair-raising, which I just realized is actually a pun, experience with category error. Speaking at cross purposes, I have a prop here. My husband was on one of his splurges or sprees of getting a bunch of junk out of the house. He had a bunch of books he was going to take to the Goodwill, and I saw this. This is my childhood copy of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, and it was in the to go out with the trash pile, and I just about blew a gasket. I was horrified. He was saying, look, I can buy you a new book, right? Because you like the stories, they're important to you. I mean, he knows that because he's like, this thing is absolutely, it's falling apart, it's beat to shit, it's all just horribly, in a horrible condition, and the back cover is coming off. But to me it has, so he's looking at the value of the story, he's looking at monetary value. He's like, if you like that story, why not have it in a nice, shiny, new aesthetic volume, which is what he prefers. But he's missing the sentimental value to me of this. Also, my aesthetic is, sadly for him, very different to his. I like that sense of an object that is has moved through time and is kind of falling apart, similar to my body. And also, so I love that. I love the particular illustrations, the hair, You know, you have the rabbit here, Tennille, and also this is kind of a weird thing, but another category of aesthetic experience of this object, as opposed to the ideas and the story contained within it. It has a beautiful powdery smell to it. It's not mildewed or anything. It's always had this smell. I think it has to do with the inks and the paper that they used to create it. If you have ever smelled the perfume Habanita, it has that same kind of powdery gorgeousness to it. So I like smelling this book. Don't kink shame me, thank you. Okay, so that's category error, and you can see where if he's talking about the story and a particular aesthetic, and I'm talking about sentimental value and a different aesthetic, you could really be at cross purposes. So you need to try and find some, make those assumptions and values explicit, how you're approaching it, and then you can start to understand each other and move forward in the conversation. That's why I still have this book. So the other category I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to mention both of these concepts I found out in a book by Ken Wilber, notorious brainiac. His book, A Brief History of Everything, which is kind of a kooky idea for a book. I really enjoyed it. He's very brainy and intellectual and very systematizing. I like that because I don't feel bound by it, but I find that it's interesting to take these type of ideas of systematizing these realms of experience, because he gets into the whole mystical experience and spiritual initiation and practice, and then kind of use those models and systems and see how they work or don't work when applied to various experiences. So for me, I found it very enjoyable. I wish I had his book here, because he has this great picture of him on with it. He has the huge shining cranium there. He's bald, and it's almost like a dome of a flying saucer. It could be, for all we know, we've penetrated into the true mystery of the flying saucer. You're going inside Ken Wilber's head, maybe. I don't know. So the next concept I wanted to discuss is the concept of a holon, Holon. This is a philosophical idea. The idea is that you have something that is like a complete entity or whole in and of itself, but it's also part of a larger whole. And this can go up in various hierarchies. So, for example, looking at your body, you have the pinky fingernail. That is something all in of itself. It is part of the pinky finger, which is part of the hand, which is part of the arm, and so on. You can do this, like, for example, your windshield wiper blade is part of the windshield wiper mechanism, which is part of the larger vehicle of your car. This type of idea of Holland sounds kind of unusual. You don't hear the word a lot, but it's something that comes into play very much in terms of diagnostics, or producing various appliances, vehicles, things like that. Computers, right? You have the various aspects of your computer, you know, like the cooling system, you have the hard drive, you have your RAM. Then from another angle, you have the various software programs, you have operating systems. So you can kind of see how you have these components that are things in and of themselves, right? Modules. And then they also become part of these larger entities. It can You could also look at it in terms of things that aren't quite as much like physical objects, like, let's say, a clock or something. For example, in the human body, you have your immune system, which has components like the white blood cells, T cells. There's the bone marrow, where these constituents are produced. You also have, for example, the cilia in your, I don't know why I had to take my glasses off to show you this. The cilia in your nose are part of keeping out shit that shouldn't be in you or that cause you problems, right? Your sneeze reflex is part of the immune system. You're sneezing out viruses and pollens, things like that. Okay, so it's not like a particular object that you can discretely hold on to, yet you do have these various chemicals and processes and reflexes and structures, macro physical structures, which all together form the immune system, right? Then when it comes to your own personal immune system, you can also relate that to your larger community. We've found this to be the case with trying to contain the spread of the novel coronavirus over this last year, right? Where they talked about having your, now I forget the word, but the people that you, your pod, oh, there's a word for it, I forget it, but just the people that you interact with and that you try and stay the hell away from everyone else and just interact with these few people. So if you do catch it, you'll just kind of keep it more contained, right? Because your immune system is also interacting with, and not, I mean, on a very profound molecular, biological level with the people around you and the larger community, right? A community can take on, for example, vaccination programs and programs to ensure food safety and to assure a clean water supply, get sewage taken care of in a sanitary manner, take garbage away and stuff. All this has to do with the immune system of the community as a whole. So you can see again how you can take these various things apart, and they're both true, right? Just because I am looking at the T cells of the immune system doesn't mean that the cinglia in your nose and your sneeze reflex aren't also part of the immune system. They're not also important. They're both vital parts. They're both valid. They both have objective reality. So just because you're focusing on one doesn't mean that you're discounting another, or that another part of the holon, another part of the hierarchy can't also have objective reality be operating. It's just that as you are trying to bring your attention and thought and possibly experiments to bear, um, you're bringing it to bear on this one aspect of the problem, and then later on you can bring it to the greater hierarchy as well. But it can help you to focus, okay, what exactly am I looking at? What are the appropriate tools and arguments that I can use to investigate or talk about this phenomena? And see. Oh, another thing that I just wanted to bring up, this is a little bit off to the side, but definitions, defining your terms, lots of terms that we use in discussing high strange phenomenon or these altered states of consciousness and whatnot have multiple definitions. So we in the Facebook group, someone was talking about the whole idea that all certain categories of experiences that come across to us as entities are simply expressions of the divine, or how we experience the divine. Which that's the type of a statement that is you're creating, you're defining these entities in a certain way. The whole idea that all is the divine is a mystical, it's a statement of a particular mystical insight. It's a definition. It's also a spiritual practice. So I would say it's important to try and think or define how you are using, if you're making a statement like that, how are you using it, right? If someone's saying it as a spiritual practice, that all is the self, let's say, and then another person is making it as a statement of mystical union, or another person is saying, well, this could be a hypothesis, right? You can take this as a statement and then interrogate it. How would you interrogate it? I see a lot of that kind of going across purposes. It takes more words to especially if you're typing online with other people. On Twitter, people like to use the character limit as an excuse, but I like to remind people that there is that cross button, so you can add another tweet. Some people find that irritating. I don't know. But I would encourage people to try and think about some of these concepts as they would apply in high strange paranormal discussions, and see if they're helpful. If you want to ask me anything, leave a comment or send me an email. Thank you for watching and listening, and yeah, I hope you have a great day. Thank you.